Hey everybody, and welcome to the chair with James. Just getting off work, and I'm tired, but I felt like I should do this on the last day of 2020. I think probably shouldn't, but I'll give a review of what happened over this tumultuous year. Just couldn't believe all the things that went on. It just seemed like all the years before there was something bad going on, whether it was you know police shootings or shootings in general, natural disasters, mass shootings. Like, I keep going to shootings, but to be honest, there wasn't a mass. Felt like there wasn't a mass shooting this year, and that really, I think, shocked me that there wasn't. But because I guess everybody stayed home. But I guess all that led up to 2020, and look at how 2020 was. Just a wild time, really, and a sad time when you think about it. Um, when you think about it, hopefully, people found themselves and whatever they are meant to be, they became and are. So hopefully that was the case, where everybody was just, finding out who they are and accepting it, and not, I guess, scared about it or to say what they are. So hopefully, we'll have uh, better in 2021. And I think we'll start actually in December of 2019. The virus started in China, coronavirus. I remember reading about it, but I didn't think anything of it. But it came in in Wuhan, China. There was this seafood plant or restaurant. I can't remember, but it started from there and it just spread around China. But nobody really thought about the progress of it. I think until it got to Thailand, then you figure, oh crap, let's see what happens. We probably have to ban some travel, but we're not trying to make everybody scared. But that's what happened. And then in January, actually, it was like, what, December 28th or 27th, the Australian wildfires happened, and those were just horrible to see. And there was these folks out there rescuing koala bears. Those are the pictures you saw, and just those amazing pictures. Not amazing like in good, but theatrical. It was just awful. January 20th, the virus makes its way in America, and it terrorizes a senior living home, which is, really, which was really shocking to me because where I work. So that was amazing how I'm there, not actually where it was, but in that field, and then it happens there. So it's just amazing to see what transpired. Through all this, though, the stock market was great until about April, and then things got worse. Later on in the month, I think the worst moment, at least for me personally, and there's some more though, but with Kobe Bryant passing away, along with his daughter Gigi and several other people, that really took some days to get over, at least, because I was a big Kobe fan growing up in LA, and so that really got to me. In February, Kansas City defeated San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I remember being at a big party, not worried about the virus, not worried about, wearing these masks, not worried about, anything at all. And, later on we would need these masks, and we still do, of course. But I never thought any of the virus at all. President Trump had himself running for the Republican Party, but there were 7 Democrats. Later on, it would be Biden that would become the candidate for the Democrats. The virus spreads through worldwide starting on the 20th. Now it's affected everywhere. And the market continues to go up until a certain point. The World Health Organization declares it to be a pandemic, and that's when things started to get haywire in March, sports-wise. The reason I knew that this was going to be a big deal, and this is a decision probably the Jazz player Rudy Gobert has to live with forever now, because he was messing around, joking wise, touching all the microphones in front of him at this press conference, and little did he know, a couple of days later he would be out for a game being sick, but people thought, oh, it's just a flu or it's just a cold. But it wasn't. He had the virus. So karma, whatever you think, happened, and bam, he got it. So that stopped the NBA, postponed all the games that were supposed to start that day and for the rest of the season up until July when they had the NBA bubble. But there was no March Madness, no Summer Olympics. And for March Madness, man, I look forward to that every year. And one shining moment and all that. So that was really tough to deal with, not having it. And then the same day, I remember Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, wherever country they were in, tested positive, and they were given updates on their status. And that became, if they can get it, anybody can get it. So that's what happened, and it was really terrifying when you think about it. Tiger King, the TV show on Netflix, became a big hit. I never knew anything about it. I really don't still. And the CARES Act came, and we got our stimulus checks. It was $1,200, and a lot of people were wanting more and more and more. And I think we're about to get $600 here at the end of the year, or end of January, I should say. And during this time, I remember that middle of March, that Friday, when I started to see lines at the grocery store and people panicking and going out and buying stuff in bulk. Like it was Y2K. I thought, what the hell? People were, buying the toilet paper, the Lysol, the hand sanitizer. They were going crazy. And that was just amazing to me, how the first thing people did was go out and buy a bunch of toilet paper. And not leaving. I remember this old guy was in the aisle. I think I snapped a picture on Instagram. And he was there. And he was looking all around all these empty shelves, trying to find some toilet paper. And we talked for a minute and said, yeah, you're not going to find any in a who knows mile radius. It's just people panicking and going out and getting it. There were UFOs spotted by the Pentagon in April, and you felt like, oh, what else could happen next? Major League Baseball did not continue its spring training in March and the season would be halted until July. And I thought that was a great decision not to continue. I didn't want anything to happen. In May, murder hornets became a thing to look not to look forward to, but it never really came anyway. NASCAR came back because it's not a team sport. So then golf and tennis came back as well slowly. But still none of the big sports came back. On the 25th of May, George Floyd was killed. You can go whatever way you want on that topic. But protests became violent, and the protests would go during the summer when you're supposed to stay home, when you're supposed to be 6 feet apart. The people are out there protesting, marching, And I happened to find myself at one of the marches, and I could understand the Black Lives Matter people and what they wanted. And it was just an all summer thing, and it became too much for a lot of people. By the end of May, there was 10 million cases. In the start of June, July saw Kanye West run for president, and quickly he was ran out of the race. The Washington football team changes its name to just that, from the R's to the Washington football team, and it's just odd as it was. It works for now, I guess. Also, in July, the NBA bubble starts up in Walt Disney World in Orlando, and at first players didn't like it, but I think then it got used to it. Major League Baseball started with territorial games until the playoffs, where it was neutral sites, so that was pretty cool. John Lewis, a freedom fighter in the civil rights unit back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, he passes away. In August, the Beirut explosion happened, and I thought this was a fake video. I remember good guy Marvin sent me the video on Messenger, and I thought, no way could this be true. No way. But it was. And the views from out in sea, and then the views from people's apartments. Oh my God, that was just horrible to see, and the destruction and how many people died. It was just awful. There's 2 hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico, and then early September, there was another one. So, that's not a rare thing though. But just how fast and with everything going on, it was pretty much too much. Another thing that happens pretty much all the time, especially start of September, there was wildfires breaking out all over the West Coast. Also Colorado and Arizona. I remember not being able to see the sun or any blue skies for a week because the white and the dark fog of clouds blanketing the whole West Coast. And somehow there was an orange sky in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. When it was supposed to be daytime, there was an orange sky. I don't know if it just stemmed out from the fires that were going on and all of the fires coming together, but it looked like a video game sky, like a San Andreas sky. It was just one of those things that you just add into 2020. In October, the sports leagues ended with, sadly enough, the Lakers and Dodgers both winning championships. Tampa Bay Lightning winning the NHL bubble. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. The debates were awful. The presidential debates between Trump and Biden. College football came back, but probably didn't seem that important to come back. In November, Biden won as mail ballots became the weapon to make that happen. But the thing is, it wasn't a done deal until Saturday, and usually it's over by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. But it took all the way into Friday night, Saturday morning to declare a winner. That just, again, adds to all the drama that was 2020. Had to count up all the mail-in ballots. Biden's running mate was with our vice president was Kamala Harris. She's the first vice president to be a woman, and eventually we will see a president as a woman one day. Her woman as president one day, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. I want to see that. The third wave of the coronavirus continues around Thanksgiving. It was just good timing, I guess, with everything going on. And in December, the vaccine comes out just as two more strains of the virus, of a different virus, are found in the UK and are now in the US. So it's a never-ending problem. No matter if you think a vaccine will kill all three viruses for you, we'll have to wait and see. But it's not looking good, and it looks like we'll continue to having to wear these face masks throughout next year, and you kind of get used to it. And I hate wearing these N95s masks here. I hate wearing these things, but you have to, at work at least. I don't mind these regular masks here, but I had some other ones created, so it's just unfortunate again to wear these, but you don't want to be passing away like we've had. I think the count is almost 2 million people dying from the coronavirus or symptoms from it, and you just don't want to be one of those. And so I've taken all the precautions personally. The year has just felt like a thing, as if to say, hey, what will happen next? So I've took it upon myself, hey, I'm not going to get in harm's way. But there's been a couple of times where, I've shown bad judgment being out with people that I probably shouldn't have, but not the people around me necessarily, but the others. But I never got close to anyone, so I knew that. I knew that was going to be good if I, brought my sanitizer and all that, and mask and all that. I should be fine. So I was. But hearing news that family members getting it, friends getting it, co-workers getting it, it made work the last 3 weeks kind of odd, because you wonder if I'll get it as it's going around my job. So, I took a test. We'll see. So I don't want to be one of those people that pass away or get the virus in general. I think one thing, notable deaths were all over the place, and some great people passing away in 2020. It just felt like it was fitting that a lot of these people passed away, but not fitting, but just hard. Even in a year of everything should have been better for the future, we always had to take a step back. And I think some very hard losses, of course, was first I had a friend named Tele. He passed away in a car accident, I believe in May, and that was real sad, because you never get to say goodbye to someone. So that was really sad. um, where the celebrity people or the notable people, I guess, people that everybody knew and liked, the good people that made you feel good, you know. And Telly was definitely one of them. Hang out and be a life of a party, be a life of the time, and that was always great. And always will remember him for just being that and being kind and funny. Um, so the notable ones that I've looked up, and the first one that I, of course, mentioned in our year in review was Kobe Bryant. Now, that one again had 3 days of absolute sadness. Couldn't believe it, crying. Just felt awful for the family, for everybody that loved him and grew up with him like I did. Just awful. Alex Trebek, growing up watching Jeopardy and just loving anything he did in any interview, and he was so nice. Canadian people are so nice. Chadwick Boseman, I've known him from some movies I've watched. I didn't see any newer ones though, but he did some great movies that I've seen. 42. I think he did. I don't know what it was called, but he portrayed James Brown. And there were some other ones in there. I think it was in Draft Day, something like that. Some other stuff. But Black Panther, he was really known for. And for the last 2 years, he's been dealt with some cancer. And the moment that I seen after he passed was an interview a couple years ago. I think it was, or a year ago probably. He was mentioning, I feel like I'm gonna die, and he's doing this interview for this movie, and nobody really thinks about it. Nobody's wondering why he's saying that. Little did we know he was really going through stuff, and he just hid it away. Well, we started noticing how much weight he lost, and eventually he passed. Naya Rivera was one from Glee and some other shows and movies. The story is that she was out on a lake, and she was trying to save her kids, or kid, I can't remember, and she did, but she ended up drowning. So you must think about the kid being there, seeing mom drown. That's just, I can't imagine that. David Stern was a longtime commissioner of the NBA. As it started getting really popular, he made it a global game. He did some sketchy things. That's almost to a point like, well, who has? Who really has? So when you think about it, your favorite person could have been doing sketchy things. You never know. Kirk Douglas passed away. He was age 103, and he did so many great movies back in the day, of course. Let's see. Robert Conrad, I remember. Going through the people here. Oh, Janet Dubois from Good Times. I remember growing up watching that. So that was pretty sad to think about. James Lipton. Of course, he had his program on Bravo Inside the Actor Studio. Definitely someone that I looked up to. Kenny Rogers, I really never really heard his music other from a couple of songs passed away, but I never told really anybody, but the people that I've spoken to said, hey, I only know really Kenny Rogers from when Will Sasso would impersonate him on Matt TV. And it was just funny as hell, but it was really nothing what Kenny Rogers was. But it was just funny. Bill Withers, great soul singer. There's countless hits that I love and I have on my phone, and I play his music every day, it seems like. Ed Farmer, the radio announcer for the White Sox. I probably heard his calls, but never knew the name. It's always a bad passing when someone in the announcing business to me. Brian Dennehy, he played a lot of different roles in movies. Remember, he's the father in Tommy Boy. And he even passed away in that, so that's really unfortunate to think about. Don Shula, probably one of the greatest, maybe one of the greatest coaches of all time. From, the Baltimore Colts and the Miami Dolphins. That was a big loss, and I remember that. Andre Harrell, executive of a hip-hop label, Uptown Records, mentored Puff Daddy. I remember him and all the music that he got out there. Little Richard. Now, I remember some of his songs, but just a showman, and I thought that was sad too. Jerry Stiller, I remember when he died, I quickly looked up all of his routines and done with his wife back in the 60s. That was really funny to watch that, and I was just saddened by that. Phyllis George, didn't know much about her other from being on the CBS NFL Today crew. So a pioneer in a sense for that. Fred Willard, I remember in countless shows and movies. He was just awesome and played the same role in each movie. And I just love Fred Willard. That was a sad one. Really sad. Carl Reiner, he created and directed so much. It was awesome. That was a big loss for the entertainment world. I didn't know that Kelly Preston passed away from breast cancer. Of course, John Lewis. Regis Philbin. I grew up watching, Regis and Kathy and Kelly. And of course, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I loved that show growing up, and Philbin being the host on there, I loved that show, and that's a big loss for me. Wilford Brimley, pretty much being the manager in The Natural and the commercial for diabetes. So he's a very known figure in that case. That's really sad. Cliff Robinson is one guy in the NBA, and I didn't know he was a contestant on Survivor. I didn't know that. He was the first player pretty much that brought back the headband in the NBA. And I have this little figurine of his where it looks like a bobblehead but it doesn't bobble. It's just made. So I always remember him. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice icon. Remember her. But it was funny, I never really knew her until she died. Eddie Van Halen. Obviously, one of my favorite groups is Van Halen. So that was pretty sad. Had a long battle with cancer. Whitey Ford, Phil Necro, two pitchers that were just awesome. And then Joe Morgan for baseball, that really hit hard as well. Joe was just amazing. Amazing hitter, great fielder, amazing play-by-play analyst, storyteller. Every Sunday night in baseball season, I would have made sure to watch Sunday Night Baseball for him and John Miller. That crew, that duo on ESPN was just one of the best, if not the best. Absolutely amazing. So I'll miss Joe Morgan. Sean Connery was just one of the best actors ever. Notable for James Bond and The Hunt for Red October. Again, Alex Trebek. You really can't find a better man than Alex. And then Tommy Tiny Lister. Debo from the movie, from all the movies of Friday. That was tough too, because you've seen him in so many things. And just a great person. Intimidating, but definitely a great person. And I really enjoyed watching whatever he did. And then Principal Joe Clark, the real one, not the one from Lean on Me. That's Morgan Freeman. He passed away, the real guy. So that was interesting hearing his story from that movie, though. The star and the hip-hop dancer from Breaking died. Adolfo Shabadoo Quinn Jones. I didn't know what his name was, but I know his face, of course, from that movie. And then Marianne from Gilligan's Island. She passed away from complications of the virus. And I never really knew about, the comparison. What was it, of Marianne or the other one? I don't remember what it was, but I just remember that was a popular thing back in the day, and people talking about it, like Charles Barkley, Marianne or the other one. Who was better looking or whatever. Some sports ones really quickly. Sam Weish, great offensive mind, great motivator. He was to me, a great coach. Got the Bengals to the Super Bowl once and made them a contender. Tried to get the Buccaneers into something, but they were just not good at all, talent-wise. Then they got better later on, but he was a great radio announcer, great analyst. The Rock's father passed away. Chris Dolman, Hall of Fame pass rusher. Willie Wood, the former cornerback with the Packers, made the first Super Bowl interception. Tony Fernandez, a slick fielding offense shortstop in the MLB. All these guys I remember. Curly Neal of the Globetrotters. Tom Dempsey, the kicker born without toes on his kicking foot, made a record 63-yard field goal kick. At the time, it was a record. Bobby Mitchell of Cleveland and Washington, playing football as a running back. Al Kaline, maybe the best Detroit Tiger ever, other from Ty Cobb. Tavares Jackson, a former quarterback. Hank Steinbrenner, the eldest son of George, passed. Of course, we mentioned Don Shula. Bob Watson, the former Yankee manager. Phyllis George, as we mentioned. But Jerry Sloan hit hard because you don't see anyone like him playing basketball now. Grit, grind, tough, just everywhere on the floor. And then he coached like that. And he led the Jazz to a couple finals appearances in a row and lost to his former playing team with the Bulls. He played with the Bulls for a while, assisted with Frank Layden in Utah, and became the coach, and had a long streak of playoff years. And that's something I'll always remember. Wes Unseld, a lot of people from now really don't know who he was, but at that time, centers and power forwards were the key to every team in the NBA back then. And he was one of those guys that would clean up and get rebounds and have the nicest outlets to the guards. And it's just something you don't really see anymore. So that was tough. Lute Olson from and John Thompson, both from college basketball. Lute Olson made the Arizona Wildcats basketball program. The same can be said for Georgetown and John Thompson. To be the first black coach to win the tournament in '84, but he didn't really see it as the first black coach. But that was a total monumental thing to happen. Tom Seaver, Lou Brock, these were two legends of the baseball world that passed away. Gale Sayers, that really hurt because I loved watching film on him growing up. He's just one of my favorite players of all time. Bernie Mac's favorite player. Bob Gibson, Intimidator. He would throw inside. But the thing is, nowadays, if you throw inside, you get warned or you get a look back. But back then, it was nothing. But he knew how to intimidate batters. And it's just a dying art form in a way. But he would strike out the world. And it was just amazing. Fred Dean, a great pass rusher with San Diego and San Francisco. Tommy Heinsohn, big Celtic ambassador, player, coach, broadcaster. He was with the team for all 17 championships. So it was definitely amazing when you think about that. Paul Hornung was the half of the duo of the 60s Packers running back wise with Jim Taylor. Just the Golden Boy, I think was his nickname. Diego Maradona, the best Argentinian soccer player ever. Dick Allen was one of the best hitters in the 60s and 70s with the Phillies and others. Kevin Green recently. He was one of those guys that I loved watching play grow up. He was crazy on the field and he would act crazy and do crazy stuff. But damn, he would get the jobs done, whatever they were. So that was a pretty tough loss there. I was really hurt by that just because most of these guys who I talked about recently, they were part of my childhood growing up. You know, watching sports, hearing music, watching films, watching TV. Whatever the case, reading a book about someone. And now they're gone. So we're getting to that point now where all of the people that I knew from my childhood are passing away that were around back then, but were in their primes or doing what they did best. So that's really sad to think about as we go along. You know, I'm trying to stay positive to the end as it's nearing 10 o'clock here in the West Coast on December 31st. I'm just hoping that 2021 is better. We can get past this virus. That would be the greatest thing. So I want to be able to see friends and see others and be with others and just how we were before, but it's going to take probably a few years to get back to normal. So that's going to be the real scary part, honestly, to think about. I got this from work, and I just wanted to see if it made noise. We'll see. It don't even make noise. And that's how 2020 went. When you think something's good, it's not. You see? Usually, nope. Nope. That's basically how 2020 has gone. So let's throw that away. Let's get into 2021 and hope for better for all of you out there. I thank the people that have watched my shows here on the Chair with James and the podcast, which you can find on all the platforms of podcasts, the Chair Podcast with James, and the YouTube channel here. I'm hoping to do more food reviews and videos with sports and whatever else that will come up. Topics. I'm looking forward to do more content, but hopefully with everything back to normal again. So, we'll see what happens. Got a couple hours left of 2020, and then we'll see what 2021 does. So, for everyone out there, stay safe. Don't go out and party. Party in your house. Don't go too far. Try to have some fun. Try to do things reminiscent of the past. If you're on Zoom people away. Just have fun with it. So, take care, everybody. We'll see you next year. And see you soon. Later.